What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom OG. Amber Portwood is extremely concerned that her new boyfriend may be leaking stories about their relationship to the press because it was originally coming out through publications based on the other side of the world. So it was The Sun UK, which is a lot closer to Belgium than it is to America. She wants to talk to someone about it, so she decides to call her lapdog, her butler, her guardian, whatever, Gary, to come over to the house while Dimitri was going away for a jog. That was funny to me. I'm like, he goes for a jog for how long? And Gary can make it from his house to your house so you could sit down and talk about him? Okay, that was a very staged, awkward scene, an excuse for it on MTV's part. When talking to Gary, Amber complains that Dimitri doesn't show her his phone whenever she asks him to, and she decides that she wants him to take a lie detector test to prove that he hasn't been selling stories about her to the press and that he's with her for her rather than her money and the fame and publicity. She claims that Matt was someone who was with her for the fame and that he thought that he would still be famous after her, and they kind of laugh about that together as well. How freaking funny is it that the two of them are sitting here as parents talking about how Amber needs to get a lie detector test for this guy that she moved into her house literally before she ever met him in person, and they already introduced to her daughter 3 days later. She's like, I don't know what his intentions are, so I need him to take a lie detector test, as if that's not something that she should have been doing away from her child a long time ago before even inviting him to live with her, and the fact that she thinks that the only intentions a person can have is to steal her money or try to get fame is really jarring to me as well, in a world where famous people, which Amber is, like it or not, she's a known person, are killed by their stalkers. This could be a stalker who is obsessed with her, who wants to kill her or something. Down south in Tennessee, the show finally acknowledges Mackenzie's pregnancy when she's ready to pop. So she gives birth to her and Ryan's daughter Stella, and we watch Jen and Larry talk about how happy they are that both sides of Bentley's family have big families of their own. I thought it was a really adorable scene. Meanwhile, in our favorite Mackenzie's world, it's her daughter's birthday, and Mackenzie can't bear the thought of throwing Jaxie a birthday party without her actual mother being there because her mom just passed, and her mom has always been super present in all of Mackenzie's kids' birthdays. So she decides, you know what, I've got this big live workout thing that I'm doing for my business in Florida. It might be nice to have a little mini vacay for Jaxie for her birthday, so I don't have to think about the fact that my mom isn't going to be there for the first birthday with Jaxie. She then goes and does some tumbling at a gym with her friends and opens up about the lack of support that she's been getting from her husband Josh about her grieving, and her friend, oh my god, pissed me off. Everyone in Mackenzie's world except Mackenzie herself pisses me off, you guys. So after Mac talks about it, she's like, I need support from my husband about this grief that I'm going through, and her friend, instead of just listening and acknowledging what it was that Mackenzie said, she basically puts feelings and words into Mackenzie's mouth. She goes, Mackenzie, you love Josh, you're just taking out all your grief on him, and I'm like, what, sis? That had nothing to do with what she said. She wasn't asking you whether or not she should stay or leave her husband. She's just venting to you as a friend that she's resenting her husband a little bit right now because he is not helping her emotionally through this really difficult time in her life. I don't know what her friend was trying to do with the whole you love him situation. Mackenzie didn't tell her that she didn't love Josh, and why her friend would tell her that she's taking out her grief on Josh. That is not what's happening. Mackenzie is trying to share her grief with Josh to help her go through it, but Josh is stonewalling her, and that is a problem. Mackenzie is not taking out her grief on anybody. She is just trying to get the emotional support that she deserves. We then flip back to a really quick scene with Black Widow Mac and Ryan bringing their daughter back home, talking about how easy the delivery was. Apparently Stella was out in 1.5 pushes on Mac's part, and as usual they have no real chemistry with one another. Ryan claims that he's very excited to have a daughter, but I don't think that he's going to be any more involved with Stella than he is with his other children already. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Cheyenne's daughter Ryder, who suffers from a metabolic condition called VLCAD, is in the hospital. She came down with a fever, and then she wasn't able to keep food down as well. She started vomiting, so Cheyenne had to take her to the hospital just to monitor the situation, which is something that she talks about, ever since she first joined the show, that anytime her daughter gets a fever, it is very serious, and she does pretty much always have to go to the hospital after that to make sure that her metabolism and her immune system and everything, digestive system, is working properly. Like they need to make sure that she is able to keep food down again before they can discharge her. But the problem this time is that her baby daddy Corey is away filming for the challenge, you know, in a competition to win $1 million. So Cheyenne doesn't want to let him know right off the bat what's going on with his daughter Ryder, because she doesn't want to ruin his opportunity to win the game and set his family up for life. So I have a question for you guys about this part, because if you recall, last season, Cheyenne made a really big deal about the fact that Corey did not leave his Mexican vacation early to see his daughter in the hospital. And she kind of tried to portray him as a really negligent and terrible father for this reason. She was like, your daughter can die anytime she goes to the hospital. And so now here we are. Corey is away again. This time it's for work. And Cheyenne doesn't let him know anything that's going on. Not even that, hey, Ryder is in the hospital, but just so you know, she's doing okay. If things kind of go downhill, I will let you know. But for now, just know that she's in the hospital and everything is okay. You know, just based off like the way that she said last year that anytime Ryder's in the hospital, she could die because her condition is very serious. Do you think it was fair of Cheyenne to not tell Corey about it at all? Or was it the right thing to do so that he could keep his head in the game for the competition? I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. By the way, I really love the birthday that Mackenzie threw for Jaxie with the dolphins and the underwater happy birthday sign, etc. It truly was perfect. Meanwhile, in Michigan, Tyler is stressed out about how much his seamstresses and web developers are charging him, and he complains about how the clothes would be too expensive for his consumers in order for him to cover the cost of just, you know, doing business with this company. And then he's like, a lot of people ask me, why don't you like start manufacturing in China then? And he explains, I want people to be paid fairly. I cannot live with myself knowing that I'm exploiting, you know, young children, child labor, just to make more money on some t-shirts and some clothing items. And I was like, you know what, good on Tyler for that. You know, I've always said that Tyler does have a very good heart, and it really does show. The results come out from Dimitri's lie detector test, which he actually, you know, agreed to do right off the bat. He didn't like hesitate. He didn't ask Amber why she needed it. He was just like, you want a lie detector test? I'll give you your lie detector test. So the results come back and he passes all the questions. So the questions were along the lines of, he doesn't want to use her for money. He doesn't want to use her for fame, that he's been honest with her about himself. He's got no skeletons in the closet, and that he's got no side chicks. Good for him for passing, though. I don't believe that it necessarily means that he is a good person. In my opinion, a good person, especially a father, does not decide to date or cohabitate with Amber Portwood. When the two of them get back home to talk about the results of the lie detector test, Amber thanks him for doing the test, and she tells him, you know what, like, I really wanted you to do this test for me because I don't believe that anyone could love me for me anymore. Like, you know, I'm always thinking about my relationships in the past and why those people couldn't have loved me, and I just don't feel like it's something that exists for me. Dimitri reassures her that he's only with her for her and who she is, not money, not fame, or anything like that. And then Amber starts up with her trademark tear-free crying, where she's like, oh my God, like in my past relationships, I've been so nice to these guys and they've just been so horrible to me. But like, listen, sis, the receipts are out there. You've beat up literally every single one of your exes, you know, and even your tears know that. That is why they're not coming down and streaming down your face. They're like, you're not about to lie on me. No, 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 we're staying back here. Guys, I really loved Macie and Taylor's conversation with Bentley about his siblings, and gagged when Ryan and Mackenzie were at the table with his parents talking about Stella and her sleeping habits. And Ryan claimed that Stella basically sleeps all the time. Like, she sleeps through the night, she sleeps through the day. And you see Mackenzie, who looks haggard, and I don't mean that in a bad way. She just had a baby and she's got another little baby to care for, then her son, you know, and you know Ryan's not involved. So she's like, no, she doesn't. And it just goes to show you how uninvolved Ryan is with this baby. Ryan clearly meant that he sleeps through the days and nights. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Ryder is discharged from the hospital, and Cheyenne and her sister talk about what happened while she was over there. And unfortunately, the next day, she is rushed back into hospital after she started vomiting again. I really do feel so bad for Cheyenne and Ryder. I just, I can't imagine the emotional and physical turmoil that that they go through every time that this happens, and it seems to be a reoccurring thing. It's bad enough that babies, children Ryder's age, get sick all the time, but the fact that whenever her child gets sick, which is something that kids always get sick, it's another level of seriousness that requires hospitalization. Absolutely freaking devastating. And good for her for raising awareness for the disease through the television show. I personally have never heard about it until Ryder and Cheyenne stepped on the scene. Now, in one of the final scenes of the episode, Tyler talks to his seamstresses on the phone, and she explains to him why the pricing is so much more expensive now than it was before. And I'm surprised that that was not something that Tyler, who works in the apparel industry, did not already understand by himself, because like pretty much anyone who's ever like sold merchandise like clothing, apparel, whatever, knows that the price only decreases as the volume grows, and he was only ordering about 20 pieces of each design that he was making, which meant that the prices were more expensive than if you were ordering 100 or 200 pieces of each. And so she explains that to him, and he understands. One thing that stuck out to me was, okay, then it sounds like he had ordered big volumes, and then the show portrayed the initial launch of Tierra Reign as pretty much everything sold out. So I don't know why he would go from large quantities to small quantities. I think MTV exposed themselves for lying about how well the sale of these clothes were doing initially. And in the final scene of the episode, we get a live view of Mackenzie's Body by Mac class on the beach with all of her students doing cardio. Good for her, doing something she's so passionate about and something that is so freaking healthy. You guys, that does it. That's a recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom OG. But as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you had to say about everything. So please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.